Hello everybody, long time no see. Today I have a spreadsheet for you guys. As most of you know, I have made a spreadsheet in the past that you could track your daily GBL usage and kind of get a breakdown of your teams and get an idea of what you're running into in GBL to try to rebuild your teams or kind of get an idea of what to expect. Just a useful tool that people can use while they're playing the game. In the past, though, it was really limited and there required a lot of user work to be able to get a lot of that data. So I really wanted to clean that up in the past few months, and finally I have completed the spreadsheet and it is very nice. I'm really liking how it's came out, and now there's a lot more information that we can actually track that I think is going to be very helpful for especially newer players and even seasoned players for just some simple data tracking. Now, to use this spreadsheet, there's only a couple steps that you'll have to do for the initial setup, but after you have that complete, all you'll ever have to do is delete the data and then re-enter the data every day just to get an idea of what you're running into. Currently, right now, we can only look at 1 day's worth of data. In the future, I'd like to expand it to a week, and if it's something that people are really interested in, I can eventually make a more collaborative pool where we could track elo ranges weekly, which won't require a lot more work, but it really is just going to depend on how many people are using this tool. So the first thing I want to show you is just an idea of what you will actually have to do to update all of the charts in the spreadsheet. Mostly it is just this one page. This is the only thing that you will ever have to touch. You can just go down, highlight the whole range of all of your battles, delete it, and all the charts will be completely updated. Everything in the spreadsheet is updated automatically depending on what information that you enter for each set. And I have right now a maximum of 30 sets that you can put in. So the next thing I'll do is I'll just show you how the charts work before we do the initial setup so that you can also use this sheet. As I mentioned before, previously this spreadsheet was really limited. All it could really do is tell you the most common Pokemon that you were running into. And I really wanted to expand that so people can get a little bit more information out of their matches. So the first tab that we're going to look at is the unique team overview. So this actually will break down the unique teams that you're running into with which moves they're actually using. So if you enter in your lead Pokemon, its fast move, and both its charge moves, it will give you a complete list of every team that you run into. So in this case, we could see the top team is Lantern, Medicham, and Octowl. And specifically with that moveset, there was 3 of those teams with that exact same moveset. So that's how this chart works. The next chart works by tracking the same most common teams, but also including the swap that you see. So as long as you're filling your daily GBL tab up in order, meaning lead Pokemon, swap, and whichever third Pokemon that you saw, this chart will also organize it from the most common teams that you're running with the most common swap that you saw. The next chart is the most common Pokemon that you're running into with their movesets. So in this example, we have the most common Pokemon, the most common leads, the most common swaps, and the very last one is the third Pokemon that you would run into. And the last chart that you will get is just the single usage chart. And this will show you just the most common Pokemon without the move, the most common lead, the most common swap, and the most common third Pokemon that you would see on a team. Now, this one is probably more useful for people who are not really caring about the moves, but they want to know what the general meta looks like. And just as an example, here's where we would track all of our battles. So for battle 1, it would be Medicham was our lead, his fast move was counter, and his last 2 moves were Ice Punch and Psychic. Then the swap was Noctowl, and right now I don't have any moveset, and I recommend, if you do not know the moves, to just use this question mark tab. You could see, you could just choose from the drop down list for all of these ones, And you should use this drop-down list. You should not try to enter any custom names. I would only use the things in the drop-down list. So it has every Pokemon that's currently in the game, including a Shadow variant, even if it doesn't exist, just for the future in case the Pokemon does get released as a Shadow form. So you would choose your Pokemon, and if you didn't get to see their moves, I would just leave them as question marks. This way that it'll be able to track that Pokemon with just the specific moves that you were able to see. So then you could change the fast move, the charge move, and both charge moves. And then the last one is your third Pokemon that you've seen. Preferably if you could keep it in order. If you can't remember what the swap is, it doesn't really matter. I just wouldn't really use the swap overview chart. I mean, unless if you still think that it's useful. It's all subjective in what you think is going to be like the most beneficial for you. But that's essentially it. You just track the one full day or the one full battle all the way across. You go all the way down the list to all 30 battles, and then your charts will be automatically updated as every entry is added. So for example, if I clear my chart, we go look at the overviews, you can see that they will be completely cleared out. But if I come back and I just delete just the bottom portion and I keep just like the first 4 matches, you can go back and look at the overview and you can see it automatically updates by whatever is in those fields. And it will list them from the most common to the least common, rather for which Pokemon you're running into the most or which teams you're running into the most. But that is essentially how the whole spreadsheet works. Now, if it's something that you want to use, this is completely free, and I will add the link for this in the description. All you would have to do is access the spreadsheet. You will come to File, and you will make a copy. You just can call it whatever you want. Now, this is important because keep in mind that this copy that you're going to take has a specific URL to it, and you can see right now, here's the URL. So when you make the copy, you're going to see that the copy is not going to have the same URL anymore. Different URL, and that is what we're going to have to change so that you can use this specifically, because if you make a copy, it is going to be pulling data from this original copy sheet. So for you to do this, you're going to go to your sheet, this new one that you just made, and then right after spreadsheet/D, after this slash, we're going to take this URL code starting with 1 all the way to edit, and it'll always be between this range. You're going to copy that range, and there's a couple places that you're going to need to change this. So we're going to go to Unique Team Overview, and there's going to be this little arrow icon on the side. There's some hidden sheets where a lot of the data is pulling it in a specific way to sort things. So we're going to open this one up, and we're going to see that there's this referral here. It's trying to access the previous sheet. So if we allow access, the one that we made a copy, all that information is going to come through. So every list in this spreadsheet will be referring to the one that you made a copy. So you'll have to change the URL for it. So here we're going to go Control F. So you're going to use Control F, and it's going to pull up the find function. You're going to hit these 3 dots. And what we're going to do is we're going to search inside formulas, and we're going to do a replace all for the URL that we previously had with the new URL for your new sheet. So we already copied this URL, so you're going to paste it in here, and then we're going to come to the URL that's in here, and we're going to copy this URL. So we're going to replace the URL of the previous sheet with the URL of your new sheet that you just created. So we're going to change it to make sure it's on all sheets. We're going to hit replace all, and it's going to ask you, are you sure? You're going to say yes. It found 8 instances. That's perfect. So after you're done with that, you can hit done, and it's going to do the same exact thing that it did before. As you can see, the referral's requiring access, and it's trying to require some access from the sheet that we're currently working in. You can just allow it. And then when you're done, I suggest hiding this tab because you don't want to screw up any of the data in any of these charts. My apologies. We're going to actually go to column DL, and we're going to go all the way to the left. Make sure you get everything, and you're going to hide all of that. So you want unique teams with the unique teams tab. That's correct. You can look over, looks good. Look down, looks good. Now this is how we can double check to make sure that the replacement for the URL worked. I'm going to come over here. We're going to delete everything in our GBL tab. Make sure all the data is out. And then we're going to look at the overviews. Nothing's there. Nothing's there. Nothing's there. And nothing's there. So that means it was a successful change. I'll put all the data back in. We can look again. And they should all update. Correct. Correct. And correct. And that's all you have to do to be able to use this sheet. I really appreciate all the support that I've gotten over the past few years. So this is something that I wanted to give to people as a tool to be able to help them in the GBL game. I do intend on coming back to playing GBL this next season. So please check me out on Twitch when I stream here in the future. And if you have any questions regarding this, feel free to message me on Discord and I will help you out as much as possible. If you're also interested in Google Sheets and know a way to revamp this or have any suggestions to make it more intuitive or rather add some more information that you might think is useful for most people, please contact me and we'll see what we can do to make this even better tool for everybody to use. Thank you guys and enjoy the sheet and good luck on your GBL sets.